Good morning. My name is Leslie Stearns. I'm a talent development facilitator at Workforce Solutions Rural Capital Area. I want to thank you for joining me today for this workshop entitled Navigating a Job Loss. The objectives of this workshop are to understand the psychological impacts of a job loss. We're going to learn how to communicate the effect of inward and outward pressures while unemployed. We'll also learn how to manage the change that comes with a job loss, how to reframe your financial view, and getting yourself prepared for an effective job search. The psychological impact of a job loss. Psychologists note that losing a job often equates to the grief of losing a loved one. The emotional trajectory can include any of the stages of grief, which run from shock and denial, through to anger and bargaining, and eventually to acceptance and hope. Beyond the loss of income, losing a job also comes with other major losses, some of which may be even more difficult to face. These can include professional identity, your self-esteem and self-confidence, the loss of a daily routine, the loss of a purposeful activity, losing a work-based social network, and your sense of security. There's stages of grief from the Kübler-Ross grief cycle. You have denial. This is the first stage in this theory. Denial can help us to minimize the overwhelming pain of loss. As we process the reality of our loss, we are also trying to survive emotional pain. It can be hard to believe we've just lost an important person in our lives, especially when we may have just spoken to that person or the previous week or even the previous day. Our reality has shifted completely in this moment of loss. It can take our mind some time to adjust to this new reality. You tend to reflect on experience we've had shared with other persons we've lost or through a job loss. It's a lot of information to explore, and a lot of pain emerges to imagery to process. Denial attempts to slow this process down and take us through one step at a time, rather than the risk of potential loss of overwhelming of our emotions. You also have anger. It's common for people to experience anger with the loss of a job. We're trying to adjust to a new reality and will likely experience some extreme emotional discomfort. Keep in mind that anger does not require us to be very vulnerable. However, it tends to be more socially accepted than admitting that we're scared. Anger allows you to express your emotions with less fear and judgment of reaction. Then you have bargaining. It is common when coping with a loss to feel so desperate that you are willing to do almost anything to minimize the pain. Losing a job can cause us to consider the way we can avoid the current pain or pain we have accepted from loss. There are many ways we try to bargain. Then you have depression. During our experiences of processing grief, there comes a time when our imaginations calm down and we slowly start to look at the reality of our present situation. Bargaining no longer feels like an option, and we're forced with what is actually happening. We start to feel more adaptability to our loss and the loss of our job. Then there's acceptance. Acceptance is when we come to a place of acceptance that is no longer the feel of the loss of that job. However, we are no longer resisting the reality of our situation. We are not struggling to make something different. And sadness and regret can still present in this phase, but the emotional survival tactic of denial, bargaining, and anger are less likely to be present. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is an emotional theory and psychological comparison a 5-tier model of human needs, often depicted as a hierarchy levels within a pyramid. Needs lower down the hierarchy must be satisfied before individuals can attempt to the needs the higher up on the list. From the bottom of the hierarchy upwards, the needs are psychological, safety, love and belonging, esteem, and self-accusation. It's important to recognize this model in order to understand how job loss can impact our lives on multiple levels of our human needs. For many of us, our security and self-esteem and status, just to name a few, are wrapped up in our employment or the lack of. It is critical to recognize that our jobs are certainly important to us, but don't compromise all of who we are. We are much more than just our jobs. We are friends, spouses, fathers, mothers, mentors, and much more to the people around us. We must look into ourselves regardless of our employment status and realize that we are humans, and despite our setbacks, we have many facets of our lives aside from our jobs where we can maintain our happiness and well-being. Communication and job loss pressure. Communicating with your family, friends, and a spouse or others close to you is an important part of overcoming your job loss. They're all there to help you. It's important to process communication. 5 minutes of communication can save a year's worth of turmoil and misunderstanding, a quote by Joyce Mayer. It's important to maintain open communication as part of the transition period between your jobs. Be sure to decide what kind of help you'll need and have a truthful conversation explaining how much help you want or don't want. Communicating needs is how you stay on the same page and avoid unnecessary conflict and added stress. Be sure to allow those close to you to express their feelings as well. Communication tips. It's important to be calm when sharing details with your spouse, family, and friends about your job that you've lost. Be sure to share plans on how you want to navigate your job search. It's important to take time out if the conversation becomes elevated and revisit once you've regrouped. Be sure to always manage your nonverbal communication and your body language as well when talking with others. Internal pressure. Sometimes we can develop negative self-talk. The expectation to find employment at a faster pace can weigh on us. Sometimes you might experience having a feeling of not being able to provide for your family or yourself. And the uncertainty of whether or not you should explore other careers may arise. This might bring the opportunity to find the job of your dreams. External pressures. Pressures from those that are financially dependent on you. Having to deal with your financial obligations, such as your car payment, your house, your insurance. You might have to make adjustments to your lifestyle, and that can become overwhelming. Having to explain to a spouse or partner where you are in your job search process. Other pressures could include the industry or job market decline, could force you to rethink your path career. Coping with pressures. Be sure to stick to a daily routine and consider your job search a job. It's important to maintain balance between daily activities and your job search. Find an activity that calms you, such as exercising, gardening, or cleaning out a closet. Might be even reading a good book. Keep a journal and write down your feelings so you can process them. Be sure to reach out to friends and talk it out. This will also help you develop new relationships by networking or volunteering. Connect with your family and reach out for support. Focus on things that you can control to increase your positivity. And always look for any silver lining and focus on small wins. Managing change. Change is the act or instance of making or becoming different, such as transferring to a new job or moving to a new home or city. Why is change difficult? Well, it's because it's unknown. It can be challenging to go through change. Change is usually always uncertain, and it's definitely unpopular. The secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. Socrates. Reflection. Do you like change? How do you handle it? Who Moved My Cheese is a wonderful book. It's a short, light-hearted parable about change by best-selling author Dr. Spencer Johnson. It follows the physical and emotional journeys of 4 characters. Their names are Sniff, Scurry, Hem, and Haw, as they search and find and lose the most rediscover their favorite food, which is cheese, enlarged through a twisting maze. The 4 characters in this story are a representation of the simple and complex parts of ourselves that allows us to resist or adapt to change. Individuals tend to react to change in different ways depending on their circumstances. It's a very good read and helps you understand the processes that you're going through as you're looking for a new career and opportunity. There's a change transition model. For example, my job has ended, I need to let go and move on. This is the ending or losing or letting go. There's the neutral zone. This would be an example. I'm bridging the gap between my past employment and my new job. And then there's the new beginning. This is where you're ready to find a new job and have a fresh start. Tips for managing change. Acknowledge that things are going to change. Keep a regular schedule as much as possible. Be sure to try to eat healthy and exercise. Seek support from your family, friends, and neighbors. This will also help you with networking to new possible job leads. Get proactive. Vent, but to a point. Back away from social media and write down positives that have come from this change. Reframing your financial view. It's important when you have a job loss to look at your finances. So take these first steps. Assess your financial situation by reviewing monthly income and expenses. Make changes in your spending habits to avoid getting into debt. Develop a plan on how to survive financially while in between jobs. So it's important to know how much money do you have. Make a list of your assets. These could include unemployment insurance assistance you might be receiving while unemployed, any savings that you might have, a spouse or partner's income, child support, or any other financial resources that might be coming to you. Use workintexas.com budget builder tool. This will help you get a clear focus on your cash flow. On your profile on workintexas.com, the budget builder tool will help you create a budget plan. Simply click on the budget plan tool and add your income and outgoing cash flow to calculate your bills and cash balances. By entering in your monthly expenses, the system will then finalize your monthly budget. The budget planning tool shows potential balance and expected salary needs to cover your living expenses. This will help you in your job search to look for employment opportunities with that dollar amount that you need monthly. On Work in Texas, there's also ways for you to look for potential sources of income through the financial assistance link. There are eligibility to the financial assistance programs and training opportunities on Work in Texas. By clicking on eligibility requirements, you'll have a series of questions that will appear to determine if you're eligible for particular benefits or programs. Once you've answered some simple questions such as, I'm looking for work, I'm interested in training, I'm disabled, I'm a veteran, my primary language is not English. By answering these questions, this will allow you to see the programs and services that you can apply for, such as the WIOA, Workforce Innovative Opportunity Act for both youth and adults and dislocated workers. This program is set up by the state of Texas and allows different workforce boards to have funding through the state to assist individuals to obtain education, training programs, and possible completions of certificates, all helping you to become more employable in your next career. There's also programs and services available through your work in Texas. This will link you to services for job seekers and employees and take you directly to additional programs and services the state offers. These could include the vocational rehabilitation services, career exploration and trends, training and education, just for veterans, a special link for veterans needing help finding employment and training. There's also a link for the rights and laws for employees and employment services, support services. You can also reach out to community resources and programs. Check in with Texas Health and Human Services, as well as by dialing 211 Texas, connecting people with services. These references will be listed in your workbook. It's important to think about reducing your expenses. You might want to cut all non-essential items. Examples could include going out to eat or higher-priced restaurant meals, any cleaning or lawn services that you're a member of. You might want to rethink your cable TV and streaming services that you have and modify those accounts. Also, you might want to put off any shopping sprees for clothes, shoes, or any upcoming vacations. It's important to protect your credit score while unemployed. So check your credit score to prevent it from decreasing. Be sure to make minimum payments to protect your credit card scores. And take advantage of going to annualcreditreport.com for reports from 3 of the major credit reporting bureaus. This includes Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. You want to make sure that you can contain either an excellent credit score, a good, fair. You don't want to slip into the poor or the bad credit. A listing of those rankings will also be included in the workbook. You might want to also talk to your creditors. You may be able to reduce payments by negotiating reduced or postponed payments for the following: mortgages or house payments, student loans that you might have, credit cards, or even car loans. You can also look for credit counseling. Find the best resources for managing money, as free workshops at credit unions may help with debt. You can also contact www.nfcc.org for financial assistance. Additional links for creating a plan to manage your money and how to begin the process of job search are also included in the workbook resources. Be sure to avoid possible financial traps. That would include failing to make the minimum credit card payment. Think twice about applying for cash advances on a credit card. Be sure to read the fine print. Those and payday loans usually have a very high interest rate, and you might be paying more out of your pocket than you need to. Also think twice about taking out a loan against your 401k. Again, read the small print. If you miss a payment to your 401k, sometimes you forfeit the entire plan itself. You don't want to lose your money. Ways to save and make money. You can generate additional funds possibly by temporary work or yard sales. You might also want to be wise and use discount coupons through your apps on your phones or when you're grocery shopping. Also, by cleaning out a closet, you might be able to sell some of those treasures on Facebook Marketplace. Try to find any way that you can increase your cash income. While being unemployed, it's very important to also ensure you have a good health insurance plan for you and your family. When you had separation from your previous employer, you might have been offered a COBRA plan. Be sure to read the documentation carefully that's offered to you. There will be a monthly rate, and you might want to go to the healthcare.gov to research to see if you can't find a cheaper rate than your COBRA plan has been offered to you. By going to healthcare.gov, you're able to research plans and prices that will help you get connected and start an insurance plan for yourself, also your family if needed. How to emotionally prepare for job search. Job search requires constant commitment, even when your mental, physical, or emotional energy is running low. This wouldn't feel like such an unsurmountable task if job searches were over quickly, but they rarely are. Did you know, according to a survey done by the recruiting company Randstad USA, the average length of a job search is 5 months, with 82 of participants describing their search as a stressful experience. But remember, difficult roads lead to beautiful destinations. There are 4 phases of job search. You have the kicking off phase where you start looking. You have the finding leads, trying to find opportunities, converting those opportunities and connections, and then negotiating your salary when being interviewed. Phase 1, the kickoff. The kickoff by far is the easiest phase. Your energy is usually high and most of your thoughts are optimistic. Here's some tips to get started. Be sure to update your resume, showcase your skills and qualifications, but try not to obsess on it. It's also important to remember each resume or application you send out should closely tie to the job description, and the matched qualifications you have be listed on your resume. This will for sure get you called for an interview. Update your LinkedIn account and add any missing networking connections. Move to the next phase quickly, as it will take most of your time and energy. Phase 2, finding leads. The lead generation phase is where you will identify job opportunities and drum up initial interest in your candidacy. You'll be sending out emails and calling your contacts. You'll have networking calls and meeting with mentors and creating new contacts. Be sure to search job boards and reach out to recruiters. And always search companies of interest, their websites, to learn more about their opportunities. This is the time to think, decide, commit, focus, and you surely will succeed. Phase 3, converting opportunities. Once your job leads turn into interview requests, you'll shift into the next phase of your search. While some people do enjoy interviewing, most find it a tad bit stressful. Make a memorable impression. Prove your value. Be confident while skillfully answering unexpected questions, and don't second guess yourself. It's counterproductive. Phase 4, negotiating. Receiving an offer is a clear sign of success, but the pressure to negotiate can undermine much of the excitement. Should I or shouldn't I ask for a specific amount? Be sure to consider a reasonable increase in salary or additional work-life benefit. Remember, yourworkintexas.com has labor market information where you can look up specific job titles in different areas to find out net worth of those jobs. That way you'll be in the know when it comes time for stage 4, negotiating your offer. Networking and social distancing success. Networking is so important in job search. In a time where we may not be available for in-person job fairs or industry conferences, you'll have to think of other ways that you can network with individuals. Social media can be a huge assistance in your job search during social distancing. Search for online industries and virtual trainings or networking events, similar to the one you're in right now today. Reach out to colleagues and former supervisors on LinkedIn. Always look to add more networking connections on your LinkedIn profile. Send a private message to friends and family in Facebook with your updated resume. Let them know that you're out there looking for employment. They can help you with your looking for opportunities. Be sure to research job board pages that spotlight employers that are seeking candidates for immediate hire. This will help you find a job quickly. And be sure to attend virtual job fairs. Remember, the job you want may not be advertised. Networking leads to information. 85% of jobs are filled through networking. You can connect with jobs immediately. Workforce Solutions Rural Capital Area on their webpage has a Jobs Now link. This will connect you to different employers by specific county and list all of their employment opportunities. The web link to workforcesolutionsrca.com/jobs-now is also included in the workbook material. Virtual job fairs. A virtual job fair online is an event where employers and job seekers meet each other in a virtual environment. Job seekers can upload a resume and be matched with employers, or simply just browse the booths of who's attending. Employers are able to view candidates from all over the country. Virtual job fairs may offer resources for job seekers, such as resume tips, career quizzes, or videos about how to present yourself in a virtual interview. It also offers chat times and webinars and online presentations. The virtual interview. Through YouTube, there is a wonderful link included in the workbook, Master Your Virtual Video Interview. Workforce Solutions also has other webinars on preparing yourself for virtual job search and getting ready for that virtual interview. Links will be included in the workbook. It's important to develop a job search plan. You'll want to be sure to save job descriptions, your customized resumes and applications, and other important material for each job you apply to. That way, when you're called for an interview, you'll have the necessary items you need to come up with some interview answers to questions. Be sure to create a job search tracking system that helps keep you organized. It could be something as simple as using your phone calendar, or creating your own Excel spreadsheet that lists your goal and your tasks, maybe the resources that you needed to complete that task, having some due dates and some follow-ups, and always having a rewarded listed after you've completed each task. I want to thank you for joining me today. We'll see if anyone has any questions.